This is Oh Canada, Oh Baby, presented by CIBC. Remember this? The good old days, back in the year 2000, when the Canadian men's national team won the Gold Cup. A significant moment in Canadian soccer, and our very own Jimmy Brennan was on the field that day.
Thank you, man.
Look at that, a handshake 24 years later between Jordan Wilson and Jimmy Brennan. We've been chatting a lot on this program over recent weeks about the possibility of Canada winning their first trophy, some hardware, for the first time since that win in the year 2000 with the Nations League and the Gold Cup ahead over the course of the next year. Jimmy, take us back 24 years ago or so, and what the state of the program was that point, and whether we can draw any similarities between then and what we may be experiencing now.
Oh, guys, I can't even tell you what I did last week. You want me to go back in this tournament? Look, I think it was just timing for us. We had a good balance of older players. You know, that was Mark Watson, Craig Forrest, Carlo Corzine, Paul Pesce-Solido, to name others. And then we had a good group of young guys that were coming through the system, you know, such as myself, and we had Jeff Clark, David Zauza, Nick Dasovich. Nick Dasso played in the next one. And Paul Salteri, Jason Bent. That was our group. So our balance was really good. And we had a manager as well who believed in us, in Holger Osiak. You know, he had a certain way that he wanted us to play, and we all kind of bought into it. And I think because in the dressing room, we were so close. We all respected one another. We got on with each other. We knew we were the underdogs every time we put on that Canadian national team jersey. We knew we weren't having the best support in the stands when we played these certain teams. But we just had a group of guys that bought into it and thought, you know what, let's go for this. And that was our belief, just working for one another. And as the tournament went on and we went on to the next match, we ended up playing Mexico. And we beat Mexico. And I think it was after that where we all kind of looked at each other and went, you know, we're 2 games away from holding the Gold Cup here. And we win this, we're going to Confederation Cup now. And then we got invited to the Copa America. And there was so much that was going on that we thought, let's do this. We're going for it now. But it was so funny about the whole thing, because nobody thought we were ever going to get there. But everything just started to seem to fall in our favor.
It happened so quickly. Like, what I draw upon it is that this current group of Canada players is renowned how well they get on with one another. Yeah. That they compete for one another. But this has been a little bit of a slow build. Like, we've seen this through World Cup qualifying and highs and lows through the way that they've gone over the last few years. That seems to be a massive similarity between these two teams. I feel like we've almost built up to this, where the Gold Cup happened. You guys and the rest of the country all jumped on it, and it was like, boom, it just happened so quickly. Yeah. Right? This one might play out in a bit of a different way. No coin toss, by the way. I mean, that's the biggest thing about this tournament, is you're in a group with Costa Rica and South Korea, and you ended up with the same points, goals scored, goals conceded. And there was a coin flip. Imagine they did this on TV. It was the first coin flip since 1968. The South Korea manager picked heads. Holger, arm in the air. Come on, get in. Tails. And that kind of propelled you to the next round. Yeah. Without you winning a coin flip where you didn't get the call, then none of that may have been.
Exactly. And I think we were just enjoying California too much as well. We didn't want to go home.
You slipped the coin with the 2 heads? Exactly. You slipped it in there?
The Corzine goal, the Hastings goal in that moment. I mean, these are ones that are going to live with Canadian soccer fans forever. Was there a signature moment for you amongst all the moments? We got to see a bunch of the highlights there, but I think
it was the belief after we beat Mexico. I think that was a big one for myself, where I remember being in the dressing room just thinking, we've just beat Mexico. Nobody beats Mexico in CONCACAF. And to beat them in front of a big crowd in San Diego, we knew we had Trinidad next. And Trinidad back in the day, they were stacked. They had, you know, Dwight York, you had Shaka Hislop, Russell Ladapi. They had some world-class players playing for them. And we ended up beating them as well. And that just sprung us forward. And then we thought, Colombia, okay, well, let's get at these guys and see what happens. And we ended up beating them 2-0. But it's very similar to the squad that you have now, where the men's national team, where they are today, and watching them play, seeing the belief in one another, having a manager that they're buying into his identity, his philosophy, playing the way that he wants to play. And when you have that, and what this national team has today, there was a lot of similarities between us and them. And we just had the belief that we were going to win this tournament, and we ended up winning it. And I can see this group winning the Gold Cup.
Awesome. A lot was made of it at Copa America with Sidney Crosby joining the Canada team in the locker room at AT&T Stadium in Dallas after they beat Venezuela. Did you have any celebrity sightings, celebrity visits over the course of your tournament, Jim?
It's funny you asked me that. We had, there was a big guy, and he was an absolute monster of a man. Anyways, I'm in my room. I'm having a little afternoon nap because I was very professional back then.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Right? And
still are.
Yeah. And I was having a little rest, had my feet up, had the TV on, I was drifting in and out, and then I could hear a little bit of commotion outside. So I was like, what's going on here? And I thought it was a few of the guys, right? So I was about to go out and have some good words with these guys because I wanted to rest. And as I opened up the door, I've just looked at this monster of a human who I felt bad for him at the time because his head was actually bent down because I think the ceilings were very, very low back then, probably maybe about 6'5", 6'6". And he's kind of bent down now. And I look, and it was Shaquille O'Neal. So he's looking down at me, I'm looking up at him, and I was kind of fired up a little bit, and I cooled down real quick because I could see how big this guy was, so I wasn't going to say too much. And he goes, you okay? I was like, I was just having a nap. You woke me up. And he goes, did I really? And I was like, yeah, but it's okay. It's all right, man. So anyways, we went out and we had a great chat with him. And we had a little bit of lunch. We took some pictures, and then we all went to the Laker game after.
Shot Diesel.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Alex McKechnie, you know, that relationship and how they're founded and how it brings together different groups of people that play different sports. Like, there's really connective stuff there, which is another, you know, one of the stories that come along with this journey. Like, there's all of these side stories that go beyond playing on the field.
Alex McKechnie, he was actually the physio of the team, right? The sports science. And he was working with Shaquille O'Neal because he was the guy that got him back playing. Right? Because there was a time where Shaquille O'Neal was losing it. Nobody could fix him.
Yeah, always.
Anyways, it was Alex that got him back, and right away the Lakers brought him in. But when you talk to Alex today and you have a conversation with him, out of all the rings that he's got, because he'll tell you about them all the time, right? He's got LA Laker rings, he's got the Raptors, he's got all sorts. But one of the best wins and championships that he's ever won is the Gold Cup.
Awesome.
He'll tell that because he's a huge soccer fan.
Yeah, yeah. Do you see the togetherness of this current group?
And also grit. Like, I think when you're speaking to even the players that I grew up idolizing, you're one of them, Gaff. Now, I know you personally, I would call you a friend, but as a kid, like you, Staltero, you guys walked on water for sure. But there's just that grit. I feel like Canadians have that all the time, and I'd just love to hear more about that in the locker room. I know maybe even training was probably a bit different back then, but in terms of you guys did something that was at that time impossible to do, but you did it.
But that's the difference. Like, you feel good about good results and good runs, but when you win something, Jimmy, it lives forever.
For sure.
And that's what takes things to a whole new level. That's what I think the missing link is for this team.
Yeah.
Like, the country's fallen in love with them. They've embraced them. They've come together. But winning something, that takes it to a whole new level.
But you can see that these guys get it, and they've got the desire to. Yeah. They know that when you finish football, it's okay, well, great, you know, I'm going to have a nice life, and I've got some money, but all you have to show at the end of it is your trophies that you've won, that you've accumulated at the end of your career. And that's why you play the game, to win something where you can turn around and say, hey, I won this, and I won that. And it's not easy, it's hard work, it's dedication. This group has it. These players know, and you can see where they're playing in the league, just how bad they want to win. And they'll do whatever it takes to win. And I think we were a team that was like that. We wanted to win, and that's how we end up winning.
So, I mean, I still perceive, although Canada probably never had a better chance to go and win something since the year 2000, just based upon the heights that they've reached, as well as the state of the other teams in this region, they'll still be an underdog to win Nations League and Gold Cup. Whether you agree or disagree, that's fine. At least the outside perception is that they will be as well. But Jimmy, if Jesse Marsh invites you and some of your former teammates to come in the room and have a word with the boys about what it means to go on and win a tournament like the Gold Cup, what would you say to them?
I don't think I would have to say anything to this group. I think they know firsthand what's at stake and what they want to do. They've already come out and said it. We want silverware. We want trophies. So they know how to get it. But maybe I'd just come in with my medal so that it would just drive them
You want one of
mental
these.
because they want one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would do it for a laugh, though. I mean, but you don't have to, because this group, they get it. You know, and I love,
missing, right?
I think that's why I love watching them play at the moment, is because they're so determined, and they've come out and said, we want to win trophies, and I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
The vibe around Copa America was pretty cool. Winning either a Nations League or the Gold Cup in the build-up to 2026 turns up the hype a little bit more. So we'll be watching and we'll be broadcasting those tournaments right here on One Soccer. Before we go to break, some sad news to pass along for the Canadian soccer community. We'd like to pay tribute to Colin Jones, an honored member of the Canadian Soccer Hall of Fame who passed away this past week at the age of 88. Colin was Canada Soccer's press officer for a decade and was regarded as the unofficial historian of the game in Canada for so many years thereafter. His impact, not just in Canada, but across North America, was significant, with the U.S. National Soccer Hall of Fame's annual media award named in his honor. Born in Falmouth, England, Colin raised a family with his wife Karen in Hamilton, Ontario. He passed peacefully last Saturday in London, Ontario, on the 39th anniversary of Canada's qualification for its first World Cup in 1985.